When it comes to Crusades, the image that often pops into many people's minds is probably a group of knights in shining silver armor, carrying swords, heading towards the Holy Land with a manly ideology. But who would have thought that among that army there would be a woman not just riding behind a horse or being the king's wife, but also leading the army herself? We are talking about Eleanor of Aquitaine. This woman is not just an ordinary queen, but someone who is considered one of the most influential women in medieval Europe. She was a former queen of France and later became queen of England. Most importantly, she was the mother of Richard the Lionheart, the famous king of England, best known for his Third Crusade. Eleanor was born in 1122 in Aquitaine, which at that time was considered one of the wealthiest and most civilized areas of France. Simply put, she grew up in luxury and was very educated. She could read and write. Multilingual, interested in music, literature, philosophy, and politics since childhood, this was no ordinary girl. At the age of 15, she married Louis VII, the young king of France at that time. But the problem was that Louis was a religious man and a bit hesitant, while Eleanor was a woman who thought quickly, acted quickly, and was as decisive as a general. This obvious difference gradually worsened their relationship. The point that made Eleanor stand out and different from other women of her time was, when she decided to go on the Second Crusade in 1147 with her husband, she didn't go as a king's wife. She went as a leader, with an army of warriors mobilized from her hometown of Aquitaine. There were quite a few of them, and more interestingly, she had her own war flag, using the coat of arms of the province, as if to clearly declare that, "I am also a leader." She doesn't carry a sword, but controls the whole scene. Although Eleanor didn't go down to fight the sword in the battlefield herself, her role in the war was very important. She was responsible for managing supplies, taking care of the soldiers' morale, planning, and most importantly, negotiating diplomacy with the leaders of the cities that the army had to pass through. Historians of the time even noted that she was a woman of courage, ambition, and influence over many men in the army. Her wars failed, and her love affairs did not. Despite her dedication, the Second Crusade failed, especially when the French army was defeated in Damascus. This failure fueled her relationship with Louis, and they eventually divorced. But Eleanor was not one to be defeated and done with. She rose again, and in 1152 she remarried a young prince named Henry of Anjou, who would later become King of England as Henry II. She became Queen of England and the mother of many children, one of whom would become famous as Richard the Lionheart, the warrior king of the Third Crusade. The strong woman who founded the Middle Ages. Eleanor was not just a queen who carried power with her. She was also a politician, a negotiator, and a passionate advocate of the arts. In an era when women's roles were limited, she managed to stand firm and be influential in both courts, France and England, at a time when most women had little choice of husbands. Without Eleanor, there would be no Richard the Lionheart. It is safe to say that without Eleanor of Aquitaine, the world might not have the Lionheart Richard we know, and without her, the Crusades might not have the story of a brave woman who was a leader, a warrior, and a queen who was unafraid of anything.